The lecture. So in the last lecture, before the internal exam, you started chapter number 4, electromagnetism. Okay, so let's just revise this chapter again, whatever we have learned in the last two lectures. So electromagnetism, chapter number 4. First, we understand the term called magnetization. Okay, so what is a magnetization? So proper definition of magnetization is a magnetic moment per unit volume. Magnetic moment per unit volume. So force of attraction and repulsion that happens in the magnetization because of the movement of the charged particles. As you know that in the electrical circuits, the electric field that is created because of the stationary charge particle. But here in the magnetic circuit, the attraction or repulsion, or you can say the magnetic field that is created by the moving charge particles. Okay? That is a difference between electric circuit and magnetic circuit. So this point you can write in the comparison between magnetic and electric circuits. Then we see what is the magnetic moment. So magnetic moment is created when any electrons is moved around any axis. So you can see here in the figure, the magnetic moment is created. So because of the moving charge, a small magnetic field is produced. And that magnetic field has a magnetic moment along the axis of the rotation. So you can see that here the electron is rotated about a particular axis. So in that axis, magnetic moment is created. The direction of magnetic moment, you can see here, downward to upward direction. Okay? That is depending upon the rotation of the electron. Okay? Then we see the definition magnetic field. So what is the magnetic field? So this is nothing but area around a magnet where effect of magnetic force produced by the magnet can be detected. So when there is a magnet and surrounding area, if you experience a force, magnetic force produced by the magnet, so that area is called as a magnetic field. And you can see that magnetic field can be shown by the direction of the magnetic field lines. So this field line indicates the direction as well as magnitude of the magnetic field. As more number of lines, it means that magnetic field strength is high. You can see that at N pole, the magnetic field line starting and ending at the S pole. And by this way, they make the closed path. Yeah? You can see here in this figure. Now, next term is electromagnet. Now, what is the electromagnet? So, this is a phenomenon which deal with the interaction between the electric field and magnetic field. So, as we know that in the electric circuit or electric field, stationary charge that create the electric field and moving charge that create the magnetic field. So, the direction of the electric field and magnetic field always perpendicular to each other, and they travel at the speed of the light. Both the field speed is same as the speed of the light. So how to create the electromagnet? So wound the core of steel material or iron material by the coil of conductor like copper conductor and flow the current through this coil. So core is magnetized temporarily still, and you provide the supply to this conductor or coil. જ્યાં સુધી supply આપશો ત્યાં સુધી તમારી coil છે magnetize રહેશે. That is because temporarily. જ્યાં સુધી supply આપશો ત્યાં. Once you remove the supply, then the magnetization of the core is removed. Yeah. So that's why it is called as the electromagnet, because this magnetism is created by the electric current flowing into this coil. You can see here in this figure, one battery is connected with this coil, current is flowing into the coil. This coil is wound around the core of iron or steel. So this iron or steel act as a magnet, and this magnet is called as the electromagnet because this created because of the current flowing into the coil. Yeah. Once you remove the supply, the electromagnetism is wiped out. Yeah. The next term is we learn magnetic flux. So what is the magnetic flux? So as we see the number of magnetic flux lines. Yes, so total number of magnetic flux lines of force in a magnetic field, that is called as a magnetic flux. As more number of flux lines, magnetic flux is more. Yeah. It's denoted by phi, its unit is Weber. There are some characteristics of the magnetic flux lines. First characteristic, they have no physical existence. It means you cannot see the magnetic flux line. Second is they form the closed path. Third is they never intersect with each other. They never intersect with the nearer magnetic flux line. All are separated from each other. Fourth characteristic is that the line of magnetic flux which is closer to each other and having the same direction, that repel each other. Suppose the two flux lines are passing from left to right, so both are repelled from each other. And exactly opposite, if magnetic flux line closer to each other and having the opposite direction, then they attract each other. Yeah, because one starting from N pole and another from the S pole, so both are attracting to each other. Yeah. So these are the characteristic of the magnetic flux line. Next definition or next term is flux density. So you can see here in the plane, flux lines are passing perpendicular to this plane. So the definition of flux density says that amount of flux passing from a unit area which is perpendicular to the flux line, that is called as the flux density. Equation is flux divided by area. Yeah. So as I say the definition, flux per unit area, but area is right angle to the line of flux. Yeah. And it's denoted by B. Its unit is Weber per meter square, or another unit is Tesla. And same like a other field, it is a vector quantity. As you know, the electric field or electric flux density is the vector quantity. Same here, the magnetic flux and flux density both are the vector quantity. So as we know that more number of flux at the pole, so flux density is maximum at the pole N and S pole. So stronger the field at the poles where there are more field lines, so flux density is maximum. You can see here in the figure, maximum flux lines are at N and S pole. Yeah. So flux density is maximum at N and S pole. So as you know, equation phi by A, phi is the flux, unit is Weber, area is cross-sectional area, meter square. So it is Weber per meter square or Tesla. So
Excuse
when
me, sir.
yes,
Sir, the slide is not changing. It's still that electromagnet slide only.
1 minute. कोई नहीं देखा थी slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
नहीं सर नहीं देखा इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक वाले स्लाइड છે
1 minute, 1 minute.
So હવે છે
देखाई जावे?
Yes, sir.
હા સર
Okay, okay. So I'm talking about the magnetic flux. So as we see, the magnetic flux is the total number of magnetic lines of force, that is called as a magnetic flux. Unit is Weber, symbol is sign. There are some characteristics, as I already told you, 5 characteristics: no physical existence, closed path, they never intersect each other. If the two flux lines passing each other in same direction, they repel each other. If opposite direction, that attract each other. Then term flux density, the definition is that flux per unit area at right angle to the flux. So flux is passing, and at right angle to these flux lines, whatever the plane, that is nothing but area from which your flux lines is passing. So flux per this area which is right angle to the flux line, that is called as a flux density. Its unit is Weber per meter square, or we can say that Tesla. It is a vector quantity, and as we know that at the pole line more number of flux are passing. So at the pole N and S, maximum flux density you can get. Now this is a very important thing. So you can see here the plane where flux lines are passing. So you can see that when the plane of a coil, This is a coil. This plane is nothing but a coil. So when plane of coil is perpendicular to the flux direction, then maximum flux will pass through this coil. So what is the maximum flux? As you know, the flux density equation, B is equal to phi by A. So phi is what? Flux is B into A. So when this plane is exactly perpendicular to this flux line and all the flux is passing at right angle to this plane, then maximum flux is passing through this plane. And that maximum flux is equal to flux density into E. Yeah. But when plane of coil is inclined at angle theta to the flux direction, then the flux phi through this coil is equal to BA into sine theta. B is the flux density, A is the area of this plane, and theta is nothing but angle between flux and plane. Yeah. So you can see that the phi is equal to BA sine theta when plane is inclined at angle theta to the flux direction. Yeah. If it is exactly 90, then maximum flux flowing. If it is inclined by angle theta, then flux is BA into sine theta. But when plane of coil is parallel to the flux direction, plane as well as coil both are in parallel, then flux passing through this plane is zero because both are in parallel. There is no angle between flux direction and plane. It means theta is zero. So if you put here theta is zero in BA sine theta, so what? It becomes zero. It means when plane of the coil and flux direction both are parallel, at that time there is no flux passing through this coil. Coil means this plane. So at that time you can say that flux is zero. So there are three conditions to find out the flux passing through this plane. If it is exactly perpendicular to the plane, then maximum flux passing, it is B into A. If it is inclined by the angle theta with the plane, then flux is BA into sine theta. And if both are in parallel, then zero flux passing through this plane. So let's understand this concept by the calculating one example. So write down this example.
Slide is not changed.
કઈ સ્લાઇડ દેખાય તમને અત્યારે?
ના હવે થઈ ગઈ.
હા, ઓકે ઓકે. તમારે થોડુંક ડિલે આવશે થોડુંક, બરાબર છે? દેખાય છે હવે એક્ઝામ્પલ બધાને? હેલો?
ના સર કન્ડિશન દેખાય છે 3.
યસ સર દેખાય છે.
1 મિનિટ. હવે દેખાય છે?
યસ સર.
યસ સર.
Okay, okay. So write down this example
Yes,
of
sir,
circular coil of 100 tons. All of you write down this example. A circular coil of 100 tons and diameter is 3.18 centimeter is mounted on axle through a diameter and placed in a uniform magnetic field where flux density is 0.01 Weber per meter square, where flux density is 0.01 Weber per meter square, in such a manner that axle is normal to the field direction. Axle is normal to the field direction. Calculate the maximum flux through the coil. Calculate maximum flux through the coil at which it occurs. Second, minimum flux and coil position at which it occurs. Then third one is flux through the coil when its plane is inclined at angle 60 degree to the flux direction. Means theta is 60 degree given. Clear? So first, maximum flux through the coil and the coil position at which it occurs. So when maximum flux passing through the coil? In which condition? In which position of the coil with respect to?
Perpendicular.
Yes, exactly perpendicular means 90 degree. Between the flux lines and coil plane must be at the 90 degree. So what is the equation of flux? Maximum flux phi m is equal to B into A. Yes, B is given 0.01 Weber per meter square. Area is given. Area is given or not? No, it is not given. But diameter is given. Diameter of the coil is given. It is 3.18 centimeter. So area of the circular coil is what? Pi r square. D is given diameter. So radius is what? D by 2. It means 3.18. That is in centimeter. Convert into meter. So 3.18 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter. So what is the answer? Phi m, maximum flux passing through the coil when both are perpendicular. All of you calculate. How much flux passing through the coil? Phi m. Give me the answer. All of you calculate, please. Area is pi r square, or you can write pi by 4 d square. Okay. Convert diameter into meter. Yes, anyone? Give me the answer. Phi m. Yes, anyone?
Zero point 0.0794 into 10 to power minus 4 Weber.
Yes, yes. So answer is, first answer is 0.0795 into 10 raised to minus 4 Weber, or you can write 0.795 into 10 raised to minus 5 Weber. Clear? All of you must write the unit. Same way, you can see the answer 0.795 into 10 raised to minus 5 or 0.0795 into 10 raised to minus 4 Weber. Whatever answer you can write. Second is minimum flux. So when minimum flux is passing, when coil and the direction of flux both are parallel. Clear? So minimum flux is how much? 0. Clear? Because angle theta is 0. So write down the second answer is that when the plane of coil parallel to the flux direction, no flux will pass through the coil. So this is the minimum flux coil position and minimum flux is 0. Same way, third one is flux through the coil when plane is inclined at angle 60 degree to the flux direction. So you can see here the figure, there is a plane which is declined by the angle theta degree with the direction of flux. So equation of phi is BA into sine theta. Theta is 60 degrees given. BA you already calculated 0.795 into 10 raised to minus 5 Weber. Multiply with the sine 60. Sine 60 is root 3 by 2. So you get the answer 0.69 into 10 raised to minus 5 Weber. So you can see that this value of flux is less than the maximum flux. So keep in mind that maximum flux passing through the coil when coil or a plane which is perpendicular with the direction of the flux line. Clear? At that time, you can pass the maximum flux. So I hope you understand this concept. All of you clear this one? Example? Quickly write down this second and third answer. Clear, all of you? So can I move for the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Next term is magnetomotive force. All of you can see this slide. Next slide.
No, sir.
Magnetomotive force. Nothing देखा this slide?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
I think there is a problem in this. Now?
Yes, sir. No.
Okay.
Now, sir, it is visible.
Okay, okay. So next term is magnetomotive force. Yes. So that term is we discussed in the last lectures. Can anyone give me the definition of magnetomotive force? Or can anyone make relate with the electric circuit? Here we have magnetomotive force in the magnetic circuit. Same way, what is in the electric circuit?
Electromotive force.
Yes. So when we apply electromotive force EMF in the electric circuit, what will happen in the electric circuit? What will happen when we provide EMF? Yes, current will start flowing into the circuit. Same way here, when we apply the magnetomotive force, in short we call MMF to the magnetic circuit, what will happen? What will happen? When we provide MMF to the magnetic circuit, what will happen? It's flow the current or it set up the magnetic flux.
Magnetic
Set up the
flux.
magnetic.
Yes.
Magnetic flux.
Yes. Here,
Magnetic
when you
flux.
provide MMF to the magnetic circuit, that set up the magnetic flux in the magnetic circuit. Clear? So you can make the analogy of EMF in the electric circuit with the MMF in the magnetic circuit. Clear? In the electric circuit we have current, magnetic circuit we have magnetic flux. Clear? So this is the analogy. So magnetomotive force is nothing but a one type of magnetic pressure which is required to set up the magnetic flux in the magnetic circuit. Its SI unit is MMF, ampere turns. Equation is N into I, where N is number of turns of the coil, I is the current flowing into this coil. So MMF equation is N into I. Remember this equation. The next term is magnetic field intensity. How can you analogize this term magnetic field intensity in the electric circuit? Electric circuit ma kai term hati that you can analogize with this magnetic field intensity? Yes, anyone?
Sir, the next slide is not visible.
Now,
Yes, sir.
magnetic field intensity. Yes.
Electric field intensity.
Yes, very good, very good. Electric field intensity. So intensity we measure per unit length. Clear? So here definition of magnetic field intensity is that the magnetomotive force per unit length of the magnetic flux path. That is called as a magnetic field intensity. So magnetomotive force unit is ampere turns. That is per unit length. It means ampere turns per meter. It is denoted by H. So equation of magnetic field intensity is MMF per L. Here L is the length, okay, not an inductor. Keep in mind this. It is Ni by L, or you can write small l. Okay? So this is the equation. Next term we have seen the permeability. Permeability is what? That is the ability of the magnetic material to create the magnetic flux through it. It is same like a permittivity in the electric circuit. Clear? Epsilon, and you know epsilon. Epsilon is what? Epsilon 0 into epsilon r in the electric circuit. Same way here in the magnetic circuit we have nu. Nu is equal to nu 0 into nu r. So when you apply the MMF to the any magnetic material like ferromagnetic material, the flux is produced that is very large as compared to the flux produced in the air or vacuum or any other non-magnetic material. So permeability of the magnetic material is very large. It means that magnetic material can easily set up the flux when you apply the MMF. So that ability of the material to set up the flux easily when you apply the MMF, that is measured from this permeability. So nu zero is the permeability of the air or vacuum, that is constant 4 into 10 raised to minus 7 H per m, and nu r is the relative permeability of the material. So permeability, nu is equal to nu zero for air or vacuum, but for any other material it is nu is equal to nu zero into nu r. Next term is relative permeability. Now you can see this term, see this slide. Then देखा जाए next slide. Relative permeability.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yes, sir. Now
Yes. So relative permeability, when a magnetomotive force is applied to any ferromagnetic material and the flux produced is very large as compared to the flux produced in air or vacuum, as we have seen in the last slide. So the relative permeability of the medium or material is defined by the ratio of flux density produced in that material to the flux density produced in the vacuum or air with the same magnetic field intensity. So again repeat, the relative permeability is the ratio of flux density in the medium from which you find out the relative permeability divided by the flux density in the vacuum. But the condition is by the same magnetic field intensity. Okay. So it is a nu r is equal to flux density in the medium divided by flux density in the vacuum. So relative permeability for the air or vacuum or non-magnetic material is always 1 because flux density in the medium, that is nothing but air or vacuum, numerator and denominator both are same, so you get nu r is equal to 1 in air or vacuum. Clear? Now next is the example related to this. So write down this example. A toroidal coil has a magnetic path length of 33 centimeter and magnetic field strength of 650 ampere per meter. The coil current is 250 milliampere. Determine the number of coil turns. All of you write down this example. Toroidal coil has a magnetic field path length 33 centimeter. It means length is given L. Magnetic field strength is given, means H is given 650 ampere per meter. Coil current is 250 milliampere. I is given. Determine the number of coil turn. So which equation you use here? First of all, write down the given data. We just put the one equation as we have seen in the previous slide. Equation of magnetic field intensity H. So the equation MMF per unit length. MMF is what? N into I. Per unit length, it means divided by L. H is equal to Ni by L. So what is the value of number of turns in that coil? Do you understand this example? Is there any doubt? What you need to find out? You find out here N, number of turns. Clear? So equation is what? Magnetic field intensity is given, I is given, L is given. N is unknown. So apply equation of magnetic field intensity H is equal to Ni by L. So find out N. Here convert this current into ampere. 250 milliampere. So it is 0.25 ampere. Convert this length from centimeter to meter. So it is 0.33 meter. and H is given in ampere per meter. There is no need to change it. So number of turns, how much?
$858.
Yes, 858 number of turns. All of you see this answer here? Clear? You get 858 number of turns. Clear? Badana આવે છે answer? All of you can get this?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Okay, so I move for the next slide. Next example. Determine MMF required to generate a total flux of 100 microweber in air gap of 0.2 centimeter long. Cross sectional area of air gap is 25 centimeter square. So here you find out MMF. So what is the first step? Flux is given 100 microweber. Area is given 25 centimeter square. So first find out the flux density B. Here flux divided by area. Flux is 100 into 10 raised to minus 6. Area is converted into meter, so it is 25 into 10 raised to minus 4. So you get the flux density B is equal to 4 into 10 raised to minus 2. Flux density B is equal to 4 into 10 raised to minus 2 Weber per meter square. But then average answer, flux density. Here we need to find out what MMF. Clear? So if you first know the flux density, then you can find out the magnetizing force H. You can see here the equation of H is flux density divided by nu zero. Clear? So flux density is 4 into 10 raised to minus 2. Nu zero is constant 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7. So magnetizing force, you get 3.18 into 10 raised to 4 ampere turns per meter. Here we need to find out MMF, ampere into tons. So here we have ampere turns per meter, magnetizing force. Here length of air gap is given 0.2 centimeter, 0.2 centimeter. So multiply this H, magnetizing force, with the length of 0.2 centimeter. So you get the MMF, ampere turns. Clear? But before that, convert this length centimeter to meter. Get it or not? You need here MMF, means ampere turns. So we first find out ampere turns per meter, means H. Because we know the H is equal to B upon nu zero. We already find out B. Nu zero is constant, 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7. So finally we can get the answer of MMF. MMF is 3.18 into 10 raised to 4 multiply length 0.2 into 10 raised to minus 2. Give me the answer. Yes, what is MMF?
63.6.
Yes, very good. Answer is 63.6 ampere tons. Clear? MMF is 63.6 ampere into tons. Unit is ampere into tons. Okay. So let's move for the next slide. Next term we have seen the magnetism. As we classify the magnetism into three categories, one is diamagnetism, second is paramagnetism, and another is ferromagnetism. Clear? So based on that, we classify the material in three categories. One is ferromagnetic material, another is paramagnetic material, and third one is diamagnetic material. All of you can see this slide. Badana dekha hai jo slide. Classification of magnetic material. All of you can see
No,
this.
sir. No, yes, sir. No.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, yes. So magnetic material is classified three category: ferromagnetic material. Clear? So what are the ferromagnetic material? So the material which has a permeability greater than unity or greater than 1, that is called as a ferromagnetic material. Clear? And its example is iron, cobalt, nickel. Same way, paramagnetic material, that is what? The relative permeability of the material which is slightly greater than 1 but less than the permeability of the ferromagnetic material, that is called as a paramagnetic material, like aluminium or platinum. Yeah. And third is diamagnetic material, in which the permeability is slightly less than unity, less than 1, and they have opposite effect of paramagnetic material. Opposite effect means paramagnetic material can easily pass the flux line through the material, but diamagnetic material cannot easily pass the flux through it. So you can see here in the figure, the very small number of flux lines are passing through diamagnetic material because the flux lines are repelled from this material. That's why very small amount of flux is able to pass through this material, and that's why its permeability is less than 1. Yes, as we know that permeability is what? That is a measure by which we can calculate how much amount of flux can easily pass through this material. But as less number of flux pass, it means permeability of the material is less. That's why diamagnetic material has a permeability less than unity. Like silver, copper, hydrogen, water, protein, fat, all are the material from which the flux lines are repelled. It means cannot easily pass through this material. So it is called as the diamagnetic material. So three category, again repeat: ferromagnetic, paramagnetic, and diamagnetic material. The next term we have seen the reluctance. The reluctance is same like a resistance of the magnetic circuit. We see in the electric circuit we have resistance, equation R is equal to rho L by A. Clear? Same way here in the magnetic circuit we have reluctance. So the characteristic of reluctance is what? That oppose the flux established in the magnetic circuit. Same like in electric circuit, the property of resistor is what? That oppose the flowing of the current in the electric circuit. Same way here, reluctance, that is provide the opposition to the magnetic flux passing through the magnetic circuit. Okay? Its equation is S is equal to L divided by nu 0 nu R into A. So L is what? L is the length of magnetic flux path. Nu 0 is a constant. Nu R is relative permeability of that material, and A is the cross-sectional area of that material from which these flux lines are passing. So any magnetic material have a reluctance that is defined by this equation. S is equal to L divided by nu 0 into nu R into A, and its unit is ampere turns per Weber. Unit of reluctance is ampere turns per Weber. The next term is permeance. Permeance is what? Reciprocal of reluctance. Permeance is reciprocal of reluctance. Same like a conductance in the electric circuit. Here, resistance and conductance are reciprocal. Same way here in the magnetic circuit, permeance and reluctance are reciprocal to each other. So its unit is exactly invert of the unit of reluctance, Weber per ampere turns. It is same like analogous to the conductance in the electric circuits. Okay. Next term is reluctivity. It is same as the analogy with the electric circuit. We have seen the resistivity. Yeah, same way here in the magnetic circuit, it is reluctivity, or you can say the specific reluctance. So definition of specific reluctance says that reluctance offered by the magnetic circuit of a unit length in a unit cross-sectional area. So as we know, the equation of S is equal to L divided by nu into A. Here, nu is equal to nu 0 into nu 1. Here. So per unit length and unit cross-sectional area, the reluctance offered by the magnetic circuit, that is called as the reluctivity. So if you put LA is equal to 1 in the equation of reluctance, so that becomes the reluctivity. So if you put L and A is equal to 1, so S becomes what? S is equal to 1 upon nu. So according to the definition, the above value of this reluctance, that is known as the reluctivity of this material, or you can say the specific reluctance. So the specific reluctance or reluctivity is nothing but reciprocal of absolute permeability, or 1 upon nu. And it is exactly same as the specific resistance in the electric circuit. So you can make the analogy with the resistivity in the electric circuit. Next term is, we have seen the electromagnetic induction. So electromagnetic induction is what? Is the process of generating a current in the electric circuit by changing the magnetic field. So as we have seen in the last lecture, that if you move magnet and make the coil stationary, then also it creates the current in the coil. Or if you make magnet stationary and moving the coil perpendicular to the flux line in the magnet, then also it creates the or generate the current. So that is called as the electromagnetic induction. Yeah. So as we have seen in the last lecture, the video regarding the electromagnetic induction, how the galvanometer is deflected when you move the magnet inside the coil or when you move the coil near to this magnet. Yeah. So I'm not going to detail about this. We have already seen the Faraday's laws, Faraday's first law of electromagnetic induction. Then we have seen the Lenz law. Then what is the direction of the induced EMF as per the Lenz law? Then Faraday's second law of electromagnetic induction. Then we have derived this equation of EMF is equal to minus n d phi by dt. Yeah. So all this slide we have already covered in the last lecture, so I'm not going to detail about this. Then we see the Lenz law. What is the Lenz law? And what is the direction of induced EMF as per the Lenz law? So here you can see the EMF equation is equal to minus n d phi by dt. So this negative sign indicates the direction of the induced EMF, that is opposite to the direction of the change in the magnetic field. Because as per the Lenz law, the induced EMF opposes the cause of the production of it. So why EMF is induced in the conductor? That is because of the rate of change of flux linkage with the coil. So this EMF opposes this rate of change of flux. So mathematically you can see this by the negative sign between rate of change of flux and EMF. So that's why E is equal to minus n d phi by dt. Here n is the number of turns of the coil, d phi by dt is the rate of change of flux with respect to time. Then we have seen the left hand rule and right hand rule, and we have seen the video regarding this, how you can see the direction of magnetic flux, current and force, and where we apply this right and left hand rule. So as we know that left hand rule is applied for the electric motors and right hand rule that is applicable for the electric generator. Clear? And we have seen the statement regarding this, and this is the representation how you can show the left hand rule and give the direction of magnetic field, direction of current and direction of force. Here I am not going to detail. Same way right hand rule. Yes, now this is the next new terms. We have seen leakage flux and fringing. So what is the leakage flux? Can anyone give the answer? What is the leakage flux? As you know that when coil is wound around the solenoid and we pass the current through the coil, so flux is set up in the iron or core material. Clear? So all the flux cannot be set up with the iron material. Some of the flux are linked with the air. Clear? So the flux which not linked with the iron material or core material, that is called as a leakage flux. Clear? So you can see here in the figure, there is a one solenoid around which we wound the coil, pass the current through the coil. So in this iron material, in this solenoid, flux line is set up. You can see this dotted line in this circular form. That is a flux line, but some of the flux you can see that surrounding the coil, that is passing through the air. Clear? It means that not all the flux is set up with this iron material. So the flux which is leak in the air, that is called as a leakage flux. That is called as a leakage flux. The flux which is not set up with the material, that is called as a leakage flux. Clear? Next term is the fringing. So you can see that here your solenoid had two terminals and between that there is an air gap. So when you pass the current, flux is set up here in the air gap. Some of the flux lines are passing in a circular manner, but at the edge of the air gap here, you can see that some of the flux lines are passing through the air gap like this manner. You can see the edge of this air gap. Clear? It is not passing straight forward through this circular path. So at the edge of this air gap, some of the flux lines are spreading, and because of that, flux density in the air gap that is reduced because flux are passing in the more area as compared to the flux passing in this core material. Clear? So you can see the edge of this material, some flux path is spread up, and then after it reaches to the next end. So because of that, the area of the flux is increasing. So what will happen? As per the definition of flux density, flux by area, the flux density is decreases because area is increases. Area of flux is increases, so flux density is decreases. So this effect is called as a fringing effect. Because of the air gap, the flux is spreading at the air gap, which reduces the flux density in the air gap. So this effect is called as the fringing effect. Called as a fringing effect. All of you understand this term, fringing? All of you understand this leakage flux and fringing term? Is there any doubt? Yes, anyone? Is there any doubt? These two terms, leakage flux, what is called leakage flux, what is called the fringing effect? Okay. Now, next is leakage coefficient. So, leakage coefficient is what? The ratio of total flux produced in this solenoid divided by useful flux available. So, what is a useful flux? The flux which are passing in this core, that is called as a useful flux. And what is the total flux? It is the flux passing in this core plus leakage flux. Yes. So total flux is always higher than the useful flux. So leakage coefficient is always greater than 1. Yeah. So this is term is give the leakage coefficient. Now next slide, which gives the relationship between the flux density and electric field intensity. Now I think time is over, so we will see this term in the next lecture. Relationship between flux density and electric field, magnetic field intensity. Now up to this in this lecture, any doubt?
Sir, will you share the entire PPT with us?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will share this. Not entire PPT, but up to this lecture. Okay. I will not share whole PPT. After completion of this chapter, I will share whole PPT. Clear? આ લેક્ચરમાં જેટલું ચાલ્યું છે એટલું જ શેર કરીશું. બરાબર છે?
Sir,